Been a while since I did one of these. Hello, everyone. JT Curtis here, and welcome to another edition of Street Sweep Chat. Street Sweep Chat. We're already off to a good start. um, and basically, for those of you who don't know, never seen this before, I sit in my car during alternate side parking, which is basically you stay in your car and move out of the way for the street sweeper to come through, and New York City, being the grimy place it is, definitely needs that. And it's a way to pass the time while I wait. Street Sweeper already went through, so now I'm just playing the waiting game. But you don't care about that. You want to hear me talk about... What do you want to hear me talk about at this point? Politics! No, I'm not going to talk about politics. Like, I don't... Hey JT, my man, how you doing? I'm doing good. How are you? So I thought I would talk about a couple of things. The number one thing that is on my mind right now is my album, which I think a lot of you have been seeing updates about and probably know. It's called Where Did the Music Go? Or it's going to be called Where Did the Music Go? It has to do, it's a concept album. It's progressive rock, as I tend to do if you've seen Elements or some of my other stuff. And the concept is it centers around this dystopian society run by AI, which is getting more and more topical every day. And this underground congregation that likes to play real music and connect with actual people. And it's going very well. And we've basically recorded almost everything, so now we're kind of in the mixing and mastering process. I'm hoping we will be done by the end of November, and we can set up for a release date sometime in January of 2026. I was hoping that I would get it done for the holidays, but I felt like I needed a little more time because, I don't want to just rush it out there. I want it to be really good, and I want you all to enjoy it. I totally get that most of you probably subscribe for History of Rock and Pink Floyd stuff and all that stuff. But for those of you who do enjoy my original music, I do appreciate that. Joe's Garage with Less Body Sons. Well, you don't know that they're not body. The reason I titled this Future of This Channel is because I've been thinking... quite frankly, about what I want to do moving forward. To be completely honest, I sort of felt like... I'm just going to clean this off a little bit. I don't know if that did anything. I kind of... After History of Rock, the 2010s, I kind of finished that and just sort of went, well, now what? And this year, I've been noticing less traffic on YouTube. I think that's kind of YouTube in general. Maybe you can only talk about Pink. I already went through all of Pink Floyd's material and stuff like that. But also, I sort of felt like with Summer of Prague, I didn't feel I did the best job of it this year. I think, kind of ended strong with Tubular Bells, and I didn't have a Halloween video this year. So Tubular Bells, Exorcist tie-in, that kind of works for Halloween. So I did technically make a Halloween video for the year. And I do owe everybody the Beach Boys playlist, which was the winner of my Patreon poll. So I do plan on getting to that eventually. But yeah, as somebody mentioned, the copyright strikes are, well, not copyright strikes, but the copyright claims, they're getting more and more tiring every day. And I'm not the only one that's, I'm not the only one that is dealing with that. I know that Rick Beato is having a really huge problem with copyright. Red Letter Media talked about it. Just a lot of people are having issues that they're just getting worse and worse. And with AI kind of taking over, it's getting bad. So it's a good time for me to be making an album out of AI. So I don't want anybody to think this means I'm going to stop making videos. I've still got ideas and stuff I want to do. They're just not, I don't think it's not, I haven't posted things as frequent this year just because I've been working on the album and I've just sort of felt like I needed to kind of take a break with it. And so we'll see what happens. But right now I'm really focusing on my album and I want to get it out there. It'll be on all the terrible streaming platforms that are using AI, so I will effectively be feeding into that. But yeah, that's I guess all I wanted to say for now. That's all I have to say about that. Let me go through the chat real quick and see what's been going on. Okay, we've got Chase Our Music. Hey Chase Our Music. Archie says, hey, I responded to that already. And Demon says, what's this channel's future? I just explained that. JP Productions says, have you seen Deliver Me From Nowhere? Which one is Delivery? Is that the Bob Dylan movie or is that the Springsteen movie? I can't keep up with these all of these biopics. How are the YouTube copyright strikes treating you? Rob K, I just explained it. They're not great. I had one for my Beatles. This one was ridiculous. So I have a video. For some reason, my top 10 worst Beatles songs video is getting a lot of attention. And on one hand, I'm like, hey, cool. I'm glad one of my videos is doing well and everything. But I'm also like, why that video? Like, that's a video I did during the pandemic because it was something to do. Everybody complains about it, maybe rightfully so. And, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, of all the videos to become my second most watched video, I'm just glad that History of Rock, the 1950s, is still number one. If it ever eclipses that, I'm going to be sad. Because, this, once again shows that people are more interested in negativity than anything else. So, yes. Hello from Vegas. Come play here. Love the shirt. Oh, thank you. I forget where I got this shirt from. Was it Lucky Brand maybe? But I do like this shirt a lot. I've worn it quite a. Delivery From Nowhere is the biopic on Springsteen and the story behind the recording of his best album, Nebraska. Is that the... so that is the biopic. I would look it up. But I can't look it up while my phone is sitting right there. I have no interest in seeing that biopic or any biopic after the Elvis movie, because I went to go see the Elvis movie, as some of you remember, and I made my review. A lot of people hated my thoughts on it, and I guess I can't blame them. I didn't really like that video that much either. And then after a while, I kind of go, what's the point of going to see these biopics? They're always the same. Every biopic is exactly the same. It starts off with a troubled home life, and then there's, some early, success, and then there's troubles with a marriage or a lover and drugs, and, gets in a fight with his band, and they go, you've changed, man. It used to be about the music. He's like, I said slag off. And then, moping and doping, and then either there's a big reunion concert and a big comeback, and then either they die or they leave a legacy. It's always the same movie. The only time I liked it was when the Weird Al movie did, because they were just making fun of it the whole time. But every biopic is exactly the same. There's a Bob Marley biopic. Oh, I don't even want to watch it. I refuse. No, I'm not going to watch it. It's also like, Springsteen, Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, they're so much fun and entertaining to watch, and interviews, live, obviously. It's just kind of like, I don't know, what's the point of even going to see somebody, I say that as a Beatles impersonator, but what's the point of going to see a biopic that doesn't even really discuss the music. It's just like, hey, here's all the terrible things this artist did in his. God, I hope they never do a Nirvana biopic. That is gonna be depressing if they ever do that. But yeah, Springsteen is New Jersey's favorite son. Is he? I feel like he is, but maybe Frank Sinatra. But anyway, let me backtrack here. Delivery from Nowhere is different because it focuses on specific time in Springsteen's life, and you see the mental torment that Springsteen went through during the Nebraska sessions. Well, again, I mean, I think he just put out a box set of Nebraska, and I'm sure like maybe there's a documentary about it or something. I would much rather see that. There are two fantastic documentaries that Bruce made on the making of Born to Run and the making of Darkness on the Edge of Town. They're both fantastic. He talks about what happened. You learn everything. You know, I'm a documentarian. That's what I like to see. And, you know, I just sort of feel like, you know, I'd much rather see that. You know, it's like a biopic, you know, talking about what happened during Nebraska. I'd rather just see a documentary on it. But who knows? Maybe it's good. You know, I can't judge it until I've seen it. But just based on every biopic I've seen lately, I mean, okay, you just said the Queen biopic is so bad. I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it is. But I did go into it after already having done History of Rock the 1980s and J.D. Curtis biopic directed by Baz Luhrmann. Oh, God. Why? Oh, God. I hope if anybody makes a biopic about me, please do not ever have Baz Luhrmann. Don't ever have him direct it, because I hate Baz Luhrmann. I shouldn't say I hate him. Maybe he's a nice guy, but I hate his movies. I've never seen a movie by his that I liked. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Let's kind of go through. I might have missed some comments here. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. Let's see. Have you seen Delivery from Nowhere? Copyright. Cool. In response to my album, Rob K says, "Cool. Sounds very Pink Floyd inspired. Very Pink Floyd inspired. Absolutely." The second side will be one song, kind of like what Elements is. So yes, I'm really looking forward to getting it out for you guys. Joe's Garage with Less Body Songs. I saw that. I subscribe for whatever this channel uploads at this point. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Can't wait for the new album. Thank you. Todd in the Shadows career has been fighting with the copyright overlords for 15 years now. I've been fighting with the copyright overlords since YouTube started, so I feel his pain. Apple Music, Tidal, and Keybx are the only streaming services I don't hate. Tidal is definitely a lot better, but unfortunately a lot of people don't have Tidal. It's one of the things where, you know, Spotify is such an awful company that I don't want to support them. But if you don't have your music on Spotify, it's like, you know, you're missing out on getting it out there to a lot of people. Where was I? Give me a second here. Stop Motion Movie says, hello. I actually liked AI used on the new mix of Free as a Bird. I mean, original version is still my favorite, but it still was a good alternative. I had mixed feelings about it. I mean, I guess I kind of understand using AI for tools like that. I mean, technically speaking, when you're mixing, a lot of tools we're using use some form of AI. You know, if I'm using like a filter to kind of figure out and filter certain frequencies, that's AI. A lot of mastering tools, AI. But it's specific kind of AI. Like generative AI is a much bigger problem than just a program that uses AI. Because, you know, once you download a program, it's downloaded. It uses only what energy is needed to keep the computer running. Generative AI is very different because, you know, it's a lot of, it's just a lot that it is simmering through and, you know, looking up all this information all over. So you need these giant data centers, and that eats up a lot of memory. And, you know, and it's causing a lot of environmental problems. I mean, people in Texas, like there's communities where they don't have water or they have like extremely bad filtrated water because, there's the amount of energy that it takes to power these AI centers is deplorable. Along with a lot of other problems that I have with AI. I don't want to get into a whole I wait for my album to come out and then we'll talk. But anyway, where was I? What I was saying was, Free as a Bird. One of the things Jeff Lynne said was that, they couldn't separate John's vocal from the piano, but it kind of, kept the integrity of the song because his voice and his piano are still there. It's almost like a ghost from the past and the Beatles are playing around it. Now it's like they've manipulated it. I can't speak today. They've manipulated it, and I don't know. It could also be the nostalgia. I'm just so used to hearing Free as a Bird a certain way, so I don't know how to feel about it. Also, I feel like Paul and George sang their harmonies to that. Now when I hear their harmonies, they sound weird. But again, I mean, that's just my own. Jewel, hey, man. Brother JT, I'm in traffic again. All right, no worries. Hello from Vegas. I saw that one. Sad Panda. That makes me a sad panda. Little South Park reference for you all. If Worst Beatles eclipses history of rock 50s, I wouldn't blame you for hovering your finger over the delete channel forever button. Well, I wouldn't do that, but I mean, I've debated, I'll be honest with you, I've debated privatizing or maybe just enlisting the Worst Beatles songs video because I just hate how much negativity it's inspired. And it was honestly, honest to God, I did it during the pandemic because I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting discussion to have. It was not meant to shit on the Beatles. It was not meant to do anything that everybody says it is, but it is what it is. But you know what? Some people enjoy it, and, I'm not going to rob them of that. It's, hey, if it brings some joy into people's life, who am I to take it down? Let's see. Biopics suck, especially for people like us. Exactly. Elvis movie was a mess. My cousin was saying it has modern songs on it. For example, Doja Cat. You are absolutely right. There was one thing in that movie I remember where it was Elvis and Priscilla, they're having a moment together, and you hear some modern pop song version of Love Me Tender. I'm like, what is this? And there's like hip-hop versions of songs while he's going through the streets or whatever. I'm just, it's typical Baz Luhrmann BS. I can't stand it. If you liked it, that's cool, but I didn't. Elvis was the worst biopic because Baz Luhrmann made it, and his films are unwatchable. Don't at me. And well, you're not going to get any. You're not going to get any disagreements from me. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm sure Baz Luhrmann. Maybe I can tell he's a talented dude, and maybe he's a nice guy, but I can't stand his movies. Sorry, but not sorry. Bob Marley biopic, which I was really worried about, but to be honest, it wasn't all that bad. You probably wouldn't like it, but in my opinion, it was pretty good for a biopic. All right, well, that's fair enough. I saw a couple of clips, and it didn't do much for me. I'm probably not going to watch it. And I love Bob Marley, but I don't know. Springsteen has made more sweating. They all suck, period. Watch documentary. Watch one of mine. That I saw. Nirvana's too big. They're going to capitalize on that at some point, probably. Well, you're right about that. And it's going to be depressing. Because, one of the things that I think Eddie Vedder was the one who said, you don't get it. It's not, everybody makes Kurt out to be this, like, really, really morose, maligned figure. And, okay, obviously he committed suicide, so that's part of it. But Kurt was also, he was funny. He was, he was very funny. And, I feel like, there's two sides to Kurt Cobain. There's the tortured artist. But then there's the guy who, wrote, what was it? Mama Take Me Home, whatever that, Silver. So, anyway, long story. I'm probably going to have to wrap this up soon because I got to get out of here. Let's see what else. Sorry, I'm just kind of trying. I want to make sure I get to everybody's. Does focus. As a Queen fan, that movie Bohemian Rhapsody had so many historical mistakes, both on purpose and mistakes. Well, I don't have a problem if a biopic or any kind of historical documentary has to change things, because at the end of the day, you're making a movie that has a narrative and needs to be gripping and it needs to move the plot along. So, you know, I can understand that, like, at the end, when they have the big Live Aid concert, they kind of combine that with, you know, Freddie finding out he has AIDS, which he didn't know he had AIDS when they did Live Aid. I don't know if he even had it yet. But it added to, you know, the scale of the ending, and there was a lot more emotion. So I understand why they changed it. I know that didn't happen because I did History of Rock the 1980s. But I'm like, okay, I can understand why you're going to do that. You know, you're making a narrative movie. Sometimes you got to change things. It is what it is. But the Elvis, to just completely ignore big parts of Elvis's career, that's where I had a problem. Queen documentary movie had a pretty good, they pretty much got all the big stuff, but, you know, it depends on what you're thinking as a Queen fan. Surprised there isn't already a Nirvana biopic. I hope it never comes back. If y'all want to see an actor sweat to pretend to be Bruce, that's your right. We think it's stupid. Put on the doc. I'll judge him without seeing him. All right. We need a Rory Gallagher documentary. Super underrated. Yeah, I haven't gotten into Rory Gallagher as much. I keep meaning to, and then I just never do. Nabi, I'm making the biopic of you, brother JT. All right. Yeah. Hey, you guys want to make a biopic about me? I'll support it. Who would play me is the question. You know, and don't say like Seth Rogen or somebody. Well, maybe that could work. Seth Rogen. Yeah. Hi, I'm JT Curtis, and this is the history of rock and roll. Anybody got any weed? I wish. Let's see. Electric Nebraska was peak. I've heard a couple of things from Electric Nebraska so far, and you know, because you know, Atlantic City, which is one of Bruce's all-time greats. I mean, he's been playing it live that way for years, and I love the live version with Max Weinberg's drums and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into it a little bit more. Let's see what else. Sorry, I really want to try to get everybody's comment here. I just want you all to like me. Steven, by the way, YouTube changed my name sometimes. I don't know why. Oh, no worries, Steven. Sorry about that. Still can't believe Ozzy is dead. I was lucky enough to be at the last Black Sabbath concert. It was an amazing experience. I bet it was. I mean, I'm really glad that I made the Black Sabbath video when I made it, because, you know, I had a really, really good time going through their albums. It was a lot of fun, and rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne, you know, living legend, as David Gilmour said, as opposed to Roger. We're not going to get into that. I don't think they make Nirvana biopic anyways. Kurt is not an easy person to tell a story. Exactly. Qbuzz is one... Did I write that right? Qbuzz is one of the other high-res services. They're a French company, so I wouldn't blame you for that alone. Yeah, again, though, the problem is that, you know, it's what do people have? And unfortunately, most people have Spotify, so it's unfortunately you got to use the system to defeat the system. But, you know, if it's out there, I'll definitely put the music on there. The thing, of course, these budgeted movies by professional are well-made, look good, etc. But biopics aren't for most fans. They're to get new fans some money. Very true. That is very, very true. Yeah, AI seems objectively bad. Oh, yeah. We'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, the new mix feels odd. I'm guessing you're talking about, is Jeff Lynne actually a person, or is he just the beard and sunglasses? Neil Candelora said the same thing, who played, he played Paul McCartney in Let It Be. He said, I'm convinced he's just beard and sunglasses. I love that. The Real Love mix will probably sound better. Yeah, because that was actually, I think it was done more professionally. Free as a Bird was just a cassette, but who knows? Monkey Rush. Hey, JT. Hi. Swampson. Ballad of John and Yoko is fire. How dare you? You know, I still don't like it. I'm sorry. I've never liked the Ballad of John and Yoko. And it doesn't, and believe it or not, it doesn't have as much to do with like hating Yoko or anything. It doesn't do anything for me. I just find it kind of monotonous. It's like, oh, here's all the things I did. And it's not even done in a way that has like, feels interesting musically. It doesn't feel like, you know, I mean, it's only John and Paul on that song. So Paul's playing drums. I've never really considered Paul to be the best drummer in the world. Yes, I think Ringo's the best drummer out of all of them, regardless of this fake quote that keeps going around with John. George isn't on it, so I don't know. Sorry, I don't like the Ballad of John and Yoko. It's probably still one of my most disliked Beatles songs, even more than Revolution 9, but you gotta put Revolution 9 on the top. I know it's not really a song, but it's a track on the White Album, so let's see. Where was I? Yes, Yoko gets too much hate. If JT disagrees, he's wrong. Okay, I personally dislike Yoko's music, but yes, she gets so much hate. Probably sexism is to blame. Okay, let's discuss this for a minute. So I may at some point make a full video on Yoko. Did she break up the Beatles? Not really. What George Harrison said in the anthology, the book, he doesn't say this in the TV series. If I remember correctly, he said something to the point of, the Beatles were going to break up anyway, but Yoko may have been the catalyst for speeding up the process. And I think that's a fair assessment. She didn't break up the Beatles, but she didn't help. There's one point in Get Back where you see her, it's after George has left, and John is talking to Michael Lindsay Hogg, and he's like, well, what are you going to do? You just say, like, George is sick? Like, what are you going to do? And he goes, oh, well, you know, if he leaves, he leaves. You know, we'll get Eric in. John was kind of a dick at that point. And Yoko gets on a mic and goes, John! 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 And she's like, John! Like in her screechy way. Now, if you watch it and Get Back, it seems like kind of a fun little silly moment between, and John's just being silly. Well, I heard it before Get Back came out. I heard that on a bootleg. It goes on longer than that. It goes on like 10 minutes. Imagine 10 minutes of this. John! 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 10 minutes of that. And John doesn't say anything. Michael Lindsay Hogg is trying to have a conversation with him, and she just keeps going and going and going. And John is like, anything you say, dear. Like, you know, just brushing her off. It's just, and to me, I'm like, you know, if I was in the studio and I had to deal with that and listen to that, I'd leave too. I'm sorry, but you're there to work, and I don't want to hear that. I mean, I'm sorry, but at the same time, you do have to blame John for that, because, you know, you got to hold his feet to the fire, because John should just said to her, it's like, hey, listen, I got to go work. I'll see you when I get home. You know, whatever. It's like, oh, we're in love. You know, it's like, you know, I love my wife. She doesn't come to every single band rehearsal I do. You know, and it's like, yeah, she, you know, and people will say, oh, but Linda McCartney was there or whatever. Yeah, but Linda McCartney was also working. So when she would come in, she'd take pictures, and they would use a lot of those pictures because she was a professional photographer. It's weird. Like, I never see her do anything artistic while she's there. I think there's one shot where she's like painting or something like that. Because I'd be like, aren't you supposed to be working right now? Like, you know, working on your next exhibit or... But really, to me, after watching May Pang's documentary and having chatted with May Pang, I have absolutely no respect for her after what she did to Julian Lennon. I'm sorry, but that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. To keep his son from getting in touch with his father, and then after he died, to keep him out of his inheritance. I'm sorry, but wrong. Like, that's a deplorable human being. And to tell your, the person, your secretary who's working with you, oh, you need to go out with John Lennon. When she said, no, I'm not going to do that. And she goes, no, you're going to do that. Like, May tells me the story. I'm just like, what? Like, that would be a Me Too nightmare right now. So, yeah, I have no respect for Yoko Ono whatsoever. The only thing I give her credit for is that John, well, a couple of things. She inspired John to write a lot of his greatest songs, Happiness is a Warm Gun, Don't Let Me Down. And to her credit, she did inspire John to take up a lot of really important causes. That includes, you know, women's rights and get more involved in, you know, stopping corruption, stuff like that. So I give her that. Other than that, yeah, not a Yoko fan. But if you were to ask me who broke up the Beatles, it's not one singular person, but I'm more inclined to say it's Alan Klein. I think he was the nail in the coffin. And that's all I have to say about that. Let's see. And there's a lot of things about. You don't like Old Brown Shoe by Beatles? Not really. It's fine. I don't really. I may have to hurry this up, so forgive me if I'm missing some comments here. How would you rank Springsteen's albums, Born to Run, Born in the USA era? Born to Run is one of my all-time favorite albums. After that, I mean, I really love Darkness on the Edge of Town. I think that's a great album. I love The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle. Love Kitty's Back and Rosalita, all those songs. The first album has some good stuff on it. I kind of prefer the way they did it live. I'm not a huge fan of Born in the USA. I kind of feel that that's his 80s sellout album. It's not a bad 80s sellout album. It's pretty good, but it doesn't do much for me. I disagree personally, but thank you for sharing your opinions. Okay, I don't know what you're disagreeing with, but anybody who claims Ringo isn't one of the goats of the drum world is objectively Laurent. You're absolutely right. People quote number 9 and don't even know what it's from. That's something. Maybe if Yoko didn't scream so much, she wouldn't have annoyed so many people. Don't make me say I don't agree with you. I made my scream comment before JT screamed, just saying. Some of Yoko's solo albums aren't that bad. I mean, if you like them, that's cool. I don't like them. I can't stand the songs of hers on Double Fantasy. I can't stand her songs on Sometime in New York City. Yeah, I can't deal with it. I think John was getting too stoned to know what he was doing on, even by 1969 John standards. Oh yeah. Make no mistake, there is a shot in Get Back where you see John is really hurt. Like, and by hurt, I mean he's been taking certain substances. But I gotta get out of here in a minute. So the whole John thing gets way worse with that damn Wedding album. I can't listen to any of those albums. You know, if you're in avant-garde music, that's great. If you're into avant-garde music, listen to John Coltrane's Ascension, okay? Anyway, John and Yoko edited Flo and Eddie's out of the Mothers of Invention set from Sometime in New York. Frank Zappa tells that whole story, and you can look him up. I don't want to talk about it too much, but yeah, he was not happy about it. I will give Yoko some credit for being able to assemble some very talented session musicians. Well, was that her who did that, or was it John or whoever? I mean, you know, John assembled some great musicians when he did Walls and Bridges and the Rock and Roll album, but I don't know, maybe she did. I'd have to look more into that. People want to make Yoko a target. I feel the same way Amber Heard. Okay. Even if she's allegedly annoying in a professional setting. These are very different things. Just so I know Lindsay Ellis, you know, put them together in some, you know, like big thing about, you know, how Yoko's people just hate Yoko because they hate women. And they may be partially true. And Lindsay made some good points, but she just goes on and on and on about Amber Heard. I'm like, Lindsay, what are you doing? You know, stick to the subject. But yeah, I have no interest in comparing her to Amber Heard. I have no interest in comparing her to Courtney Love. I have no interest in comparing her to anybody. She is her own person. She had her own strengths and weaknesses, and that's how I compare her. So that's all. Look at Double Fantasy. Half masterpiece, half mess. Yeah, I'll talk about that another time. It seems weird to us people we dig fall for Sinesters. Courtney, again, I'm not going to compare people. Zappa did Avant-Garde the best. Well, I don't know about the best, but he definitely knew what he was doing with avant-garde music. I mean, Brown Shoes Don't Make It. That's amazing. What time is it? I got to get out of here in a second. All right, one more question, and then I got to get out of here. Let's see, what's a good... all right, this is the last... what I meant was Yoko was getting people like Elliot Randall, Yogi Horton, Tony Levin, Andy Newmark. Okay, Earl Slick. That's a good point. Again, was that her who did that? Or, I don't know. I'd have to look more into it. But if she did, you know, props to her. Been on a Zappa kick recently. Well, we made the Zappa. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to get out of here and get back to work on my album. Thank you so much for joining my live stream. It was great to talk with everybody. You know, sometimes, you know, I get a little bit disheartened, wondering if people are still interested in this channel. So for you guys to come on and have some fun discussions and about rock and roll, it's a lot of fun, and I really, really appreciate you all. Yeah, just you know, keep supporting the page. I'll try to get out some content. I'm gonna try to get out a video for November. I'm super busy with mixing the album, but I am gonna try to do something. And comment below, let me know what you would like to see next. Do you want to see the Beach Boys video? Do you want me to do the Yoko video? Maybe I'll revamp it. I thought about doing a video where I said, what if the Beatles did a tour in 1969? And there you go. I love your channel, just have nothing to add about prog rock. Oh, that's all good. Anyway, I'm gonna go, y'all. Thank you so much. Never let the bastards grind you down. Talk to you later.